says waiting for Cole. Hello, I think I'm live. If you see me, tell me that I am. It's saying waiting for Cole. I think I'm coming. There I am. Hi. I am in Sicily. I'm in a cave in Sicily. It looks fairly Moroccan, but it's southern Sicily, and it's really close to, southern Sicily is really close to Tunisia, so it has this Northern African influence. And it's really hot down here, so our Airbnb is in a cave, which is pretty cool. And there's a giant gong, which is also really cool. But today I'm here, not to tell you about how cool my place is, but to talk to you about my upcoming training with the Mindfulish School, which is something that myself and Jack St. Pierre have poured heaps of love into. 200-hour teacher training. It starts in October. We still have a few spaces left. And I'll talk a little bit more about the specifics of the training soon. I know that people are really curious about what happens in a training, and I'll give you some specifics about our training. But first we'll just do a short little meditation here. And I want to show you Garuda Mudra. So Garuda is the mythical eagle in the Hindu deity. So let's bring our hands up. And then take your thumb pits, yes, you have thumb pits, or your thumb webs to touch. And then we'll turn the hands in. So the thumbs will be hooked and the hands will be turned in, like wings. Take the hands to the heart, press the heart back into the hands. So this mudra, and a mudra is a hand position, it holds some energetic components. For me, I really think of it as anchoring an intention. It's another way to anchor an intention. It can be quite powerful. So Garuda really represents, to me, perspective. So an eagle flying overhead gets a lot better view and a lot more of a discerning view than something right close down. Maybe you can release the mudra for a moment, and I'll just, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a microphone. I'll chat on this for a moment, and then we'll move into it. Maybe you can hear me better now, or almost. Maybe you can hear me better now. I think we got that plugged in. But so often whenever we go through our lives, our world gets really small when it feels like we're just doing the next task and the issues that we have, and our world is the biggest part of all of it, and our problems are, the biggest part of our life. And it really feels like this sometimes, and it can really feel true so often. But when we have the ability to shift perspective and to see things from a new angle and to see things from a new lens, this zoom out, like an eagle, Garuda, then we're able to navigate a bit more clearly. And I really think, to me, this is what yoga helps me do. I don't know if you saw my last video that I just put up about what yoga is to me. Check that out. It's just about 2 or 3 minutes. But it allows me to get to know myself in many different ways. Through stillness, through movement, through community, through connection, lots of self-inquiry, to look through many different lenses rather than just this one view, the perpetual pattern that we do when we see the world one way. So yoga helps to expand that perspective, and I think that that's part of what we do in a teacher training. Of course, we're learning about the asana, the poses. We're learning about pranayama, the breath. We're learning about the philosophy. We're learning about so many different things, but these things that we're learning give us new perspective, not only to look at the world, but the way that we view ourselves. So let's come back into the mudra and we'll do a short little meditation, and then I'll tell you more about the mindfulness school. So again, all 10. The thumb webs or the thumb pits, hook them together, and then turn the fingers up, place the hands to the heart, press the heart back into the hands, and then close your eyes down or let the eyes be heavy. Just take a few rounds of breath. Feeling your chest expand into your hands on an inhale, and slowly fall down on an exhale. Feeling your heartbeat. Feeling the floor or the chair or a bolster, anything underneath you. And whatever happened in your day prior to this moment and whatever's going to happen later on, just set it to the side for just a moment. You can pick it back up after. But let this moment be as clear as it can be. Be as direct in this moment as you're able. And the breath can really help us to do that. Feeling the sensation of the hands on the heart and the heart pressing back into the hands can help us do that. And then just a little reflection, a little thought experiment. Maybe bringing something to your mind that has been taking up a lot of mental space, or that feels like it takes up a lot of energy. Maybe it's a task or a relationship or a worry. And then as if you could put some wings on and lift off away from the closeness of that issue and continue to kind of fly up, not fly away, but flying up in order to gain a different perspective. And you can look at it from the left a little bit and look at it from the other side a little bit. You know, what's possible? Maybe you're looking at a certain thing, or maybe you're just looking at yourself. Like, how can I be viewed differently? How can I see myself differently? We get so caught up in our identities, our roles and our masks. And shaking up that narrative and shaking up those stories can at once be a little nerve-wracking and also provide so much freedom. And a precursor to being able to shift those things around is to be able to inquire, to back up and inquire with curiosity, release the judgment, and just be curious. Curious, compassionate inquiry into our relationship with the world and our relationships to ourselves, one another. What may we find? And sometimes the smallest of shift can really, really open up many, many things we may not have thought possible. A few more rounds of breath. We're going to bring the hands up. So you'll leave them hooked. Maybe open your eyes and you can kind of see. I'm going to bring the hands forward. I'm going to keep the thumbs hooked, but the hands will go up over the head. We're going to fly up. Fingertips are wide. Thumbs are pulling at each other. Open the heart. Maybe gaze up just slightly. I'm just feeling this openness, possibility. And then exhale slowly. Place the hands together. Draw hands to heart center. And a big audible exhale. And release the hands. Beautiful. I definitely feel more grounded in my body. It's so interesting that even after just a few minutes and some breath, how much that can shift. So, moving on and bringing that with us, not moving on, but bringing that with us, that idea of perspective shift and curiosity into thinking about a yoga teacher training. So the Mindfulness School that Jack and I created has been a culmination of all of our really diverse years of teaching and practicing, from running studios to international retreats, online channels as well. And we've taught in many different aspects. Some social activism, addiction, many different ways, many different things. There's so much that you can really take your yoga practice into, because yoga really weaves into the world, weaves into ourselves in the world. It's so much more off the mat, and we both really believe that when we teach as well. We're taking this stuff off the mat. And the way that we're running this program, some of the foundational things that we really believe in is inclusivity, is finding ways to be sure that we're bringing yoga to all people, that it is accessible. And we really value curiosity and playfulness. We take ourselves way too serious sometimes, so we really want to invite this curious and playful inquiry. And sometimes we go to some really challenging places, very often. But yeah, we can really counterbalance that with being genuinely curious about what we have going on. And then we do it in community, and community is such a key, such a beautiful aspect of this, is that we get to see ourselves in other people. We reflect to them and they reflect back to us. And that really helps us remember that no, we're not just a little crazy here or a little neurotic this, or that I'm the only one that feels this way. We really realize that we're in this together. So we find that human thread whenever we explore together. So those are some of the values. And our training is really like the format of it, and it makes it really accessible as well. We have a fully online version, and then we have a hybrid version. So regardless of which one that you choose, it's 8 weeks online. And it'll be one study group during the week, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll do that for 8 weeks. And me, Jack St. Pierre, and then we have some excellent guest teachers. Karen, Brima, David, Mary Dana, they're all coming in and they're teaching. We'll kind of get to that a little bit later. But excellent team that we have compiled. Really excited to introduce you to all of them. So it's the 8 weeks, and then it's a 10-day intensive. That 10-day intensive will be 10 days in a row, and you can take it online from wherever you are in the world, and many people do, or you can come to meet me and Jack in Austin. So we'll have a group of us that will meet in Austin. So we'll be doing it in Austin, Texas, and we'll live stream our virtual people from all over the world. So we'll get to do that piece together. Really, really excited about both. It's so nice that we, in the beginning, the tech stuff seemed like, oh man, we have to do stuff online. And now we've adapted so much to it that it's allowed so many more people to access this that wouldn't be able to in the past. In our last training, we had someone from like South Africa and Brazil and the UK and Australia, and we were like all over the place, and that just wouldn't be able to happen otherwise. So there's always a silver lining. Some of the things that we cover, well, we cover a lot of things. 200 hours is really comprehensive. It's very comprehensive, but it's a lot of stuff. So we're learning a little bit about a lot of things. But what you will leave with is the confidence to create a sequence and the confidence to teach its sequence. You'll get stronger in your own personal practice, and you will learn so much about yourself. That is a promise. You will understand the basics of yoga philosophy, the 8-limb path. It's so much more than asana. And be inspired to find ways to share it in your community, not just on the yoga mat. That's the hopes. I'm going to pull up the website here. The website is in the description if you want to look at it with me. I don't know what time it is in the States. Y'all still may be sleeping over there, actually. Let's see if I can get this pulled up here. So we have this kind of set so it works for all time zones, is one thing that I'll mention. I'm actually in Italy right now, but I'm normally in Australia. So it definitely works really well for Australia, really for Australia and for the States, and for the UK. You'll have to access a little bit in Europe, access a little bit more replays than you otherwise would, but we've had people from all time zones, so it works out. We have enough classes that are kind of at different times. And everything is recorded. Well, one, everything is live. By the way, we're not giving you a whole lot of pre-recorded content. We're going through this with you. We really want to do this as community. And we have replays because we know life happens, and we also understand that people are in different time zones. So that is available too. And we'll set up, if you're not able to make it live, we'll set up an agreement with you about when you can watch it, and to be sure of the comprehension. We can kind of create some sort of little thing between you and us for that. So we can work with you. And some of the things that we'll go over is foundational asana. And we'll work on physical and energetic alignments. And kind of our philosophy around asana is that we are not going to try to put you in certain shapes and tell you that this is right and that this is wrong. We really believe that, the pose is just a guideline. It's just a suggestion. And we want to make the pose work in your body, not try to put your body in the pose. So that's very important. And we'll teach you how to teach like that as well. Because remember, we're wanting to make this accessible to all people. And not everyone's doing what the people are doing in the yoga poses. So there's a dance and discernment around how we create spaces for everyone in this. Methodology. This would be working on cueing, on sequencing, on adapting, and we'll give you a lot of creativity here. We really don't want you to leave this teaching like us. We want you to leave teaching like you. So we want to support you in finding your own voice and support you in finding your own creativity. And we'll really give you some suggestions on safe cueing, on creative ways to come up with your sequences, to stay inspired. And you'll have lots of practice being able to teach with one another. Mary Dana is coming to teach the anatomy and biomechanics section. And she is incredible, a wealth of knowledge. And anatomy can be quite heavy. There's some people who are just like anatomy, just love it, and it clicks right away. And to some of us, it can be quite heavy. And Mary Dana makes it really fun and accessible, so I think you'll really enjoy that. Polyvagal theory and the mind-body connection. This is one of my little nerd outs. I'm really excited to share that. And I kind of drop little nuggets of this, in my teaching already. But exploring and befriending our nervous system is so powerful. And I'm really excited to dive into that with you. I could go on and on, but we'll leave that. Pranayama and meditation. Really working with the breath is powerful. I think it was I can never remember. I think it was Iyengar that said, that the poses, the asana, are just decoration for the breath. That the breath is the powerful piece. So we'll really dive into that and get to explore that more. As well as meditation. That's really shifted everything for me. That's a big piece where we get to know ourselves. We really get to know ourselves through movement. There's a certain way that we learn that way, but there's so much to learn when things get still. You know what happens then. History and mythology of yoga. We'll go into that. It's just fascinating. It's such a long lineage. And Karen is going to come and support us in teaching that. She's also a wealth of knowledge. Really fun. She'll teach the Bhagavad Gita as well, which is a beautiful ancient text that still relates to modern days because we're still human. Might have been thousands of years ago, but yoga philosophy, of course, and also some Buddhist philosophy. There's a lot of similarities, and there's a lot of differences as well. But I think that they blend and they weave really beautifully, and I really resonate as well with the Buddhist philosophy, and I really wanted to include that in our training. So that is one of the special components that you won't find everywhere. We'll go through, touch on yin and restorative, the benefits of that, learn how to sequence that, and just the philosophy behind it. This is a vinyasa training, but this counterbalances it so beautifully. So if you haven't tried yin, I know I'll have a lot of people who like vinyasa. You're really going to find some medicine in this. And it's good to know both to, we never really find balance. It's pretty elusive, but to help us in that navigation towards balance. Ayurveda. Jack is incredibly knowledgeable about Ayurveda. This is another special piece of our training, and she will help you find your dosha and kind of understand that whole, it's a giant system. We can't understand the whole system. I'll just be frank here, but get you to understand the basics of Ayurveda. It's really beautiful. As well as Bhakti Yoga and Mantra is Jack's specialty. Bhakti means devotion. So Bhakti Yoga includes the mantra and the chanting and, really being devotional. It's quite beautiful. And Jack is really grounded in her presentation of it. And it's really accessible, approachable, and the vibration of it is really beautiful. Yoga and social equity is very, very important to us. We have Brima coming in to share about that. And it's a really powerful and challenging and important topic, and we're really grateful to have him with us. This is the yoga off the mat. This is really bringing yoga to all people and what that means when we say we're all one and we're all connected. That's not true. We might be connected, but we are not all one. And what that means and how we can support shifting that back into balance. Maybe not back into balance, but into balance, and what we can do and what we are doing that is feeding it being out of balance, and how we can be more skillful in our actions. Theme weaving. So this is weaving in the components of philosophy and life and our own personal experience into our practice. This is really fun. This is a really fun piece. We have some really cool exercises and projects to help you begin to weave that, because without the breath, without the meditation, without the intention that goes around the yoga, sometimes it can just be movement, which is absolutely fine. But we like to thicken that foundation and make it strong and fertile, and I think that we can do that really beautifully with theming. We go through trauma-sensitive yoga and holding safe space. This is really important. One of the components, one of the first yamas that we'll talk about is ahimsa, is compassion and nonviolence and doing no harm. So this section, it's powerful. You'll learn about it a lot about yourself here, and a lot about other people, and how it's really empathy building. And how can we truly support one another, knowing the kind of biomechanics of what happens whenever we experience trauma, and how we can be more skillful in creating space for that. We're not a psychologist, we're not a doctor. It's also learning a lot about scope of practice, but how we can try to be as skillful as we can in helping yoga be a tool. It's a great section. It was one of the faves so far. Body positivity, inclusive yoga. We learn about modifications, post and prenatal, how to make yoga accessible. We're always going for that. Always going for that. And then business and ethics, of course, which sounds not fun, but it actually is. There's so many creative ways that we can blend our yoga practice into the world. Like, how do you want to teach? Who do you want to share this to? Where do you want to spread your message? And what really makes you click? For me, it's working with people in addiction, that I get to bring this yoga practice into this, but it weaves with everything. It's so complementary and supportive of like everything. I've seen people weave it into so many different places, and it just supports. It only supports. So, yeah, it's a beautiful collaborator. Yeah. Some of the other things that I wanted to mention is that some questions that I get commonly is, what if I don't want to be a yoga teacher? Well, you don't have to be a yoga teacher. We're not going to make you do anything that you don't want to do. And often people don't. Often people really take a yoga teacher training to learn more about themselves, to learn more about this practice that has already given them gifts. Because this practice has gifted you, or you're not even, you're not curious about coming back to your mat every day, not curious about a teacher training. So even if this is just for your own curiosity, feed that, reward that. We really want to nurture curiosity. And often the people who say that they don't want to teach are the ones that end up teaching the most. But it's not an end goal. It's absolutely not an end goal. The end goal is to get to know ourselves better and how we can weave these ancient teachings of yoga into our modern lives. So whether that is through teaching with others, it will definitely show up in your relationship with others. I think there's this quote that I saw the other day that said, how do you know that your yoga is working for you? Not when your poses get better, but when your relationships get better. Something like that. And like, yeah. Another question, payment plans. We do have payment plans available. So you can just set that up with us and we'll work with you to make that supportive. We do have scholarships that are full for this session, but for every training, we will have a couple full scholarships and a couple partial scholarships. It's easier for us to do the partial scholarships so we can meet you where you are. But we have applications for those out a few months prior to training. So for this one, they're already full. And I think that those are some of the main questions that I get. If you have any more that come up, then let me know. And I'll look through these, I'll kind of watch these comments tomorrow or something, and I can come back in and comment on anything. But this journey of yoga has been a total gift to me. Not just the journey of yoga, but the whole journey that brought me into yoga. It's just an endlessly fascinating path, and I couldn't be more grateful to get to share this practice, to share even little nuggets of what this practice has given to me. And it really feels like getting to like kind of pass this torch of goodness and then support you into translating yoga through your lens, through your experience, and being able to continue to share that message. It's beautiful. I'm grateful for all the teachers before me and all of the teachers, coming through my, it sounds weird coming through me, but all the students that will become teachers. I don't know where to go with that. That sounds weird, but to watch my previous students go out into the world and doing big things right now, so freaking exciting. It's so good. It's so good. So, and just the way it shifts their internal life. Lucky. Absolutely. If you have any questions, please feel free to, you can email me, you can just pop a comment in the box. I think I have one here. Yeah, Brandy. Yeah, we have people come and take the 200 hour again. Many people take another 200 hour. They're all really quite different. They all have a base component to them that they have to have. And then there's a lot of elective also around it that shifts as well. Yeah, they're quite different because it always depends on who's teaching, how it translates and how it comes through. But we have a lot of people come back for a 200 hour. We are creating a 300 hour that won't be out until probably late next year. Yeah. And for payment plans, yes, just message me through, yeah, why don't you email me? I think would be the best. Or Facebook Messenger. I don't know if we're connected on there. Message me through CCY page. There's a contact form down at the bottom. And what we do for payment plans is that you deposit and you register. And then once that's in, I can go into the back end and set up a payment plan. And we can work that out in like even payments of however you want to do it. We can be flexible with that on like a weekly or monthly, and we'll just make an agreement between you and me. And we'll go from there because we really want to, support you all to do this, support this journey. So I look forward to chatting with you about that, Brandy. Yeah, reach out. Cool. Well, I think that's all. I am going to film a yoga class here in a moment, so watch for that to come out. And then I'm going to go ride horses in the Valley of the Temples in southern Sicily, which is some Greek temples from 6th century BC. Temple of Hercules, the Temple of Athena, and we're going to ride horses in them, me and my partner. So just a casual Sunday evening. Feeling real lucky right now. I just finished a yoga retreat in Sicily, teaching a yoga retreat that was just, and we're definitely coming back either next year or the year after. So if you're interested in retreating, it was absolutely magic. So you can watch for some stuff coming up from that. Okay, I'm going to quit rambling. I will see you next time. Namaste. Oh, watch for alpaca yoga coming out this week. I filmed a yoga class with my alpacas in it, so I'm going to corner that market. Ciao. Do I need to shut it off on the phone? Just hit the X button?
Hey?
Just hit the X button?
I have absolutely no idea. I've never done a YouTube like that.
We don't know what we're doing.